faffing around video, as always. So, I've got some leftover feta. It's there. It's because I've got this here. But I've got some leftover feta, and I'm always kind of like, what am I going to do with it? I don't like throwing things away. So I was wondering if we could make a feta. We could turn feta into cheesecake. Will it work in the same kind of way as cream cheese? That type of thing. If we puree it down. Obviously, it's a little bit salty, but a little bit of salt in with baking is normally a good thing. So, baked cheesecake, it's normally about 400 grams worth of cheese to about 75 grams worth of sugar and an egg. So I've measured that, and there's only 200 grams worth of cheese. So 40 grams worth of sugar. So we'll puree that up and see what happens with the sugar, because it will puree down, because we can make we can cream because we can cream feta down, so it will cream down. So we might as well add the sugar, and we'll see if that purees up, and then we'll add an egg, and then we'll bake it, and we'll see what happens. Alright, so that's just broken into curds. Alright, okay. It tastes a little bit sweet. Okay, it's going to clump together. I think that's sweet enough. We're going to put some yogurt in. Yeah, I think it needs a bit of yogurt. Yeah, if we put some yogurt in, then that will it will thin it down, it'll make it more like cream cheese, and it'll give a little bit of sourness to it. So if we put in 200 grams of yogurt, it's thick yogurt, it's my homemade stuff, so I'll have to put a little bit more sugar in. About 200 grams, a little bit over, not to worry, and then we want another 40 grams worth of sugar. That much. So get this thing on properly. Another issue I have with Kenwood, they don't make things that just fit on easily. So we'll peel this up. Scrape the sides down with my turmeric stained spatula, and then I think we can get the egg in as well. It tastes alright, doesn't it? Get the egg in as well. And I'm not going to make a base for it. I'm just going to put it in a container with a bit of baking parchment, because it's just a bit of an experiment. So that's that. It's quite wet, isn't it? But I think that's one. It's quite interesting. Right, find a suitable container, and I'll bake it in the oven at whatever temperature you're supposed to bake it at. And I reckon about 150, something like that. And then we'll see how that turns out. Yeah, but it's a bit loose, but the egg will firm it up. Right, I'll just find a container, but we'll be back when it's cooked. I think we're cooked. It's slightly moving, like that, so we know that's cooked. So we'll let that cool. and then we'll see what that tastes like in a bit. Right, it's cooled. Let's have a taste. Let me just... It's an old tin. It's a bit wet. So we've got some liquid. I think, what am I call it? It would send a base. Oh, it cooks well. It would send a base kind of quite wet, I think. But there's a little bit of moisture around there, so it's kind of quite a wet one. But can we see that? Not really. That's alright, it hasn't split or anything like that. Let me just have a better look. That's not so bad. That's not so bad. It's alright. It's very cheesy. But, you know, it's a cheesecake, so it's supposed to be cheesy, isn't it? I don't think you can use feta in a cheesecake. You could if you were desperate. It's just not what you'd kind of expect, or maybe kind of want from a cheesecake. Yeah, it works, but it's not the best tasting cheesecake, and it's not something. Yeah, it works, but it doesn't work. It's not delicious, which is kind of what we're always aiming at. So it works, but it's just not. I could never serve it. Like, I wouldn't even serve it to friends or family or something like that. If you know. Although, let me just have a think. Right, I've had a think. So there is something that where I'm from called a Yorkshire curd tart, which is I just can't quite remember, but it is like a custard cheesecake type of thing encased in pastry. They're very nice. It has a similar flavour profile as that. So this is kind of quite savoury. I don't think adding any more sugar to it would kind of change that savoury cheese flavour to it. However, I think maybe having a go and you making a sweet pastry case, and then baking that in the sweet pastry case would become quite interesting. Yeah, so if you're a fan of a curd tart, that might kind of work. So, what I'll do, next time I've got some leftover feta, I will make a Yorkshire curd tart the normal way, and then we'll make it with some, then we'll do the curd tart with feta, so we'll do a taste comparison, and we'll kind of have a see how it turns out. I just can't remember how to make a curd tart. I've got the recipe book. Maybe I've got one at hand without going on the internet. No, I don't think it's got one. No, there's not one. There's not one in this recipe. The Bero book, which is kind of quite a famous thing in the UK. So it hasn't got a curd. It might have a curd tart recipe, but they might call it something else. So I'll do a bit of research, and then we'll have a think. And maybe it's in Yorkshire. No, it's Yorkshire pudding. It's not Yorkshire curd tart. Yeah, so I'll do a bit of research, and then next time I've got some feta, we'll make a curd tart normally, and then we'll make a feta curd tart, and we'll see how it turns out. It's just, maybe it's the yogurt as well. I think it would have been too overpowering if it was made all with feta. Don't know what to think about it. I don't know what to think about it. I don't know what to think about it. I'm torn. It's got a nice texture. It's got that curdy texture of a curd tart. Yeah, so I know what I'm doing, and we'll revisit this sometime in the future.